film sucks. Indie film sucks. It's the Indie Film Sucks podcast. Yeah.
Coming at you from the mean streets of St. Louis, from a basement on South Broadway, the Indie Film Sucks podcast. Because indie film is cheaper than saving a dog's life, apparently. Oh, man. Well, tonight we have a guest, writer, director, actor. He does it all, Mr. J.R. Stokes. Uh, he is the mind behind Beautiful Pam, one of the best films we have seen pass through the hallowed halls of indie film sucks. I would put it at the very top. We've seen some good stuff. We've seen
Yeah.
some really good stuff. But man, you're right up there. If we were giving out awards that were worth absolutely nothing, uh, you'd take home a top prize.
Thank you so much, Chris. I'm honored to hear that. It means a lot to me. Happy to be
Oh,
here.
thank you for being here. So I'm gonna lay on you the
Sure.
same thing we ask everybody,
Sure.
which is, what is your suck?
hmm making films, especially making independent films, it's a gradual process that has gotten worse and worse over the years, right? And in saying that, getting the films seen has been getting worse and worse over the years. And it's just fucking impossible, especially with the phasing out of something like physical media, right? DVD sales, things of that sort.
Hmm.
For me, the biggest suck as an independent filmmaker has been trying to get the film seen, whether it be going to festivals or trying to get the film seen online. There's a less of a priority being taken by institutions like festivals and such, where they're not willing to take a chance on this no-name indie film with no-named actors in it, right? There's less of a chance and a risk being taken there. And that's not just applicable to things like festivals. That's applicable to the studio system, if we can even call it that anymore. That's applicable to online streamers. That's applicable to a lot of different things in making independent films now. And for me, that's the biggest suck is getting the work seen.
Yeah, man, I gotta agree with you. I mean, I don't know. It feels like, and I hate saying this because this is like we're in a time period where there are more films being made than ever before.
Absolutely.
Like every day, there's probably on average, just in the United States alone, 1,000, if not more, new independent films are being cranked out every single day.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
And worldwide, it's
Hmm.
what a million films a day, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? But that because of that,
Yeah.
there is so much content, so many movies, so
Yeah.
much competition,
Yeah.
and it feels impossible
Yeah.
to break through. Like it feels like
Yeah.
that Kevin Smith moment that every filmmaker prays for. You know,
Yeah.
you sell all your comics. You mortgage your whole life.
Yeah.
You make your first big feature film. You go to Sundance, and you get a deal out of that. I mean, that was hard as shit to do then. Now,
Now it's
now,
near impossible. Now it's
yeah,
near impossible. I completely agree with you, man. And there's sort of this paradox effect right now, especially in the film school system, where we have, or even if you're not in film school now, we have unlimited access to equipment, right? You don't need to be in film school to have good equipment. You don't need to go
no,
to NYU or USC
no,
to get top tier equipment. But at the same time, while we have the most access we've ever had to equipment, we have the least access we've ever had to the industry, right?
yeah,
As you put it, to getting the films distributed and financed even and playing in festivals. It's fucking hard, man. It's really fucking hard.
yeah. I mean, so our last film was Red Night at Skies,
Hmm.
which was our biggest budget. It was is right around $100,000,
Yeah.
and that was a monumental effort
Hmm.
to raise that money. And we ended up going with a distributor, a really small outfit, in which we were not going to do because
Yeah.
we've been down that path multiple times and
Mhm.
been thoroughly fucked multiple times. So so it's like we're never doing this again. But it's
Yeah.
like we found a guy that we liked, a small company, a 2 year term, and right now it's been released for about a year, and it's on a bunch of platforms, but it's still in the red. You
Yeah.
know, it is hard as hell to get any eyes on your
Hmm.
film.
Yeah.
So because of that, we were our follow up film to that last one. We were again looking at around $100,000, and we had a pretty good shot at putting that budget together because everyone wants the budget. Everyone wants the money.
Mhm.
Oh, if I only had X amount of dollars to make this film, blah
Mhm.
blah blah. But
Yeah.
man, I'm here to tell you, if unless you're making like a five, six, $10 million movie, if you're making like $100,000, $200,000, or $50,000 movie, whatever, it is hard as hell to make that money back.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
so it's like, what's the point of spending $100,000 or $250,000
Yeah.
on a film that you have zero shot at getting it back?
Yeah.
It's nuts.
I completely agree with you, man. Especially when you consider that, I know this is something we've ran into in the festival scene, right? We made a movie for under $2,000. That was how much our feature film, Beautiful Pam, cost. Really, with all things considered, we probably spent a little over 600. However, we've been telling people 2,000s just so people don't hear the word, oh, you made a $500 movie? I'm not gonna watch that. So we've been telling people 2,000. But a problem we ran into is we'll be up against films that cost $2.5 million, $1 million, $2 million, at festivals. And the work is there. It's good stuff, but it's hard, man. When you're making a $500 movie and you're having to compete with films that are $1 million films, that's hard. And then when you talk about
Yeah,
again trying to break even, right? Because these films got to break even too. I totally
yeah,
understand that. It's hard. It's really fucking hard. And even films with bankable stars in it, right? Even films with a name producer behind it, or someone famous is behind it or promoting it, whatever, they're still not making their money back,
yeah.
and I've been asked this question a lot. We recently put the film up on YouTube, our film, Beautiful Pam, and I've been asked quite a lot, like, why? Like, why did you do that? And I've been telling people, listen, if you're an independent filmmaker because you want to be rich, then you're in the wrong profession. Because there's
Absolutely.
absolutely
Absolutely.
no money to be made from this. And at this point in my career, I would like to just try and get as many eyes on it as possible, and everyone has YouTube on their phone. So that's sort of been my philosophy as far as distributing Beautiful Pam.
And that ain't a bad one, man.
Thank you.
I I mean, and because I am on right now, we're working on feature film number 8. I think Beautiful Pam went.
Congratulations, man.
Oh, um,
It's excellent.
is that something to be congratulated for, or or should we be commiserating? I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think it's a congratulatory thing. I think
Well,
that's wonderful.
well, thank you, because
Yeah.
I believe Beautiful Pam is your second feature.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yeah.
So the first one was Edge X.
Yes.
Yeah. Talk about that for a minute. What's the story behind that one?
So Edgex was my debut feature film. I made both of those films when I was 18, but Beautiful Pam just came out 2 years later now. So Edgex was in the can for a little while, and that's a film about adolescent substance abuse. That was a film that I was really connected to as a young person at that time. And I took a lot of inspiration from films like Requiem for a Dream and again, The Wrestler. It's a film I always look back to when I'm inspired by movies. I'm just a huge Aronofsky fan. And EdgeX was interesting, man. That was like my film school in a way. I haven't gone to film school. My film school has been making films, and EdgeX was like my film school. And then after I made EdgeX, I said, okay. now it's to my second feature, you know? And so we pulled together some of the same people that worked on that movie. We added some new faces and we came together and we made my second feature. And that was sort of, I feel like my first like, okay, I went to film school, basically, quote unquote, and this is gonna be my first real feature, Beautiful Pam, you know? Which is ironic considering EdgeX is like 2 hours long. So
Yeah.
um, but you know, it's been a learning process. That's the biggest thing for me personally. Tr Being an independent filmmaker, I'm trying to learn how to entertain people while also telling stories that resonate with myself and can resonate with anybody, you know, and that's the biggest thing. I don't want anyone to ever come see my film and be like, wow, this fucking is boring as fuck. You know, this shit sucks. You know, there is an aspect to the films I want to make where, hey, I want people to be able to fucking relate to it, man, and watch some real shit on screen and be like, wow, like, you know, that's something I really am interested in seeing. You know, those are the types of stories and the films I'd like to make.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I mean, I also have no formal training, didn't go to film school,
Yeah.
barely went to any kind of school to be honest.
That's
And
great.
I'm looking at your work and I'm looking at mine. I'm like, man, I'm making dog shit here,
No,
and
no.
and this guy is killing it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I mean,
Thank you.
I mean, I haven't seen Edge X, but man, I am very curious about it just based on Beautiful Pam,
Thank
which
you.
again, we get a lot of films, so you never know what to expect. And we are not a horror review site. We're not a horror website. Now, I mean, we love
Mm,
horror films. I've made horror films. We're
mm.
working on one now,
Yeah.
but Indie Film Sucks was not made to just cater to one genre because there's a
Yeah.
thousand horror sites. It's like
Yeah.
there's not that many independent film sites for any and all genres.
Yeah. I agree with that. Trust me, that's something I've ran into.
So
Absolutely.
it's hard to find a place.
Yeah.
And I've run up against that with my own stuff because I took when I first started kind of a shotgun approach. Like my
Mhm.
first film was like this crime neo noir.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean, it sounds
absolutely.
way better than it is. That
What
that's
sounds very cool.
it. It is what it is. That's on YouTube. Amphetamine. We just put that out there like a month ago.
Cool,
I,
man.
I think we're up to like 125 views or something
It's
like
still
that.
good though, you know. It's 120 people that didn't see it otherwise.
That's
So
true. That's
that's the way
true.
I think of it.
But then we made a World War II film, which took 3 years of my life.
Wow. Holy
Yeah,
crap, dude. That
yeah,
sounds so fucking cool.
yeah. I mean, it was, and it was also horrible. And then
You're
then my
funny, man.
my third feature
Yeah.
was a role playing game documentary called Game of the
Yeah.
Year,
Mhm.
which we made for like I don't know, uh, $600, something like that.
Yeah.
And that was a great experience.
Mhm.
I've done two mockumentaries which are dirt cheap, and I love that. I love that genre. So
Mhm.
just by watching your film, the first thing I thought was, man, this is a micro budget film, and it does not make a damn bit of difference.
Thank you.
And I knew that, just
Mhm.
from a logical standpoint,
Sure.
that you don't need to spend a shit ton of money and have a shit ton of gear and have all the bells and whistles to
Yeah,
make it to tell a great story because you
I agree.
you
Absolutely, man.
you absolutely did that. I mean,
Thank you.
you thoroughly killed it.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that, man. I say a lot to myself and I say a lot to, you know, friends of mine that are also filmmakers. It's like there's never going to be enough money, or there's never
No,
going to be enough time, there's never going to be enough of anything.
no,
So you've got to just jump the fuck in and do it, you know? And it's scary, you know? But in saying that though, there was a lot of preparation. There were a lot of things that we did consider, right? And there were a lot of moving pieces, right? If we're gonna do that, I said if we're gonna, you know, jump right in and do this thing, we got to make things organized. We have to be prepared. And so that was sort of the trick in making a film with little to no money was we were able to pull together people that really believed in the story, and really believed in the concept of working with each other. I mean, we didn't have this huge crew or anything. We had a skeleton crew, and I was wearing a lot of hats, and we had a makeup artist and two of our buddies, who we taught how to fucking work the boom mic, and this was truly an effort. The film was an effort made on the backs of so many wonderful people. And they came out, and people were working day jobs, and they'd come and work, and we'd have a set schedule months in advance, and we'd say, hey, listen, call time at 7 p.m. I'll have you at the door by 10. So we were trying to be as organized as possible. People were coming out after their day jobs, after this, after that, to try and work on the film, man. And that meant a lot to me. And I guess that's what we need more of. I mean, but it's hard to find that because
It
again,
is.
more and more it's harder to get the money back. It's harder to get the film out there. I mean, honestly, a person who's bold enough might ask, like, hey, why the fuck are you doing this thing? There's like almost no pros to doing this. And I would say to them, I'd say it's for me, and I'm sure you can relate to, Chris, it's just this inherent thing. It's like it's almost like a drug addiction. It's like I
Hmm.
need to do this. I need to do this so I can feel fucking complete with myself, in my
Yeah.
own life. And that's why I do it, because otherwise this whole thing is a suck. So that's the way I've viewed this so far.
I mean, everything you've said has just rung so true to my own experience. People coming out after work, people working on weekends, people
Yeah,
working for little money, people working for no money,
yeah.
people just doing it because you have convinced them to do it. And and
Which is not always easy.
no, no, it's not. It's not. So talk to me about Pam a little bit. Where did the concept come from, and
Sure.
how did you put everything together?
Well, I'm a big fan of films that are open for interpretation. I'm a big fan of films that feel like documentaries, that sort of cinema verite style. I take a lot of inspiration from filmmakers like Sean Baker and Darren Aronofsky and Vincent Gallo. And these are all filmmakers that I look at their filmography, and I resonate with their stories. I resonate with the fact that a lot of their films tend to follow some of the outsiders on society. And as far as Beautiful Pam specifically, at that point in my life, being, a fucking edgy 18-year-old, I felt a lot of isolation. I felt a lot of how Pam is feeling in the movie. And the thing I like to do personally is I like to write through the characters. I like to write, some of the way they view the world and view themselves. That's me writing through the characters directly. It's almost like I'm journaling, and obviously I'm not Pam, and a lot of people watching the film may not be able to relate to Pam's lifestyle, but a lot of it about how Pam feels about themselves and the world, that is how I feel. That is how a lot of people have been telling me they feel as well. And hey, man, that's the beauty behind it, man. That's the beauty behind things like art, music, movies. And that's why independent film is so fucking important to preserve, because without it, we're not going to be able to see stories that we can resonate with on a personal level. And to me as a filmmaker, that's the most important thing. And that's what drove me to make a film like Pam was, this film is about isolation. This film is about empathy and family and loneliness. And these are all things that really struck a chord with me on a personal level.
So how'd you go about casting it?
The role was written for our lead, Tom Corsiari. I never had anyone else in mind to play Pam. I specifically wrote around Tom. I'm in New York, but I'm in like the boring part of New York, Long Island, so I'm not in like the fancy schmancy part. And so, but even on Long Island, there's a prominent local theater scene as well, and we're only a 45-minute train ride from Manhattan anyway. So, I was able to tap into the local theater scene, and Tom was someone who was in the local theater scene. So the role was written for Tom, and also Peter Konsovich's Beetle as well, who's second billing in the film. That role was written for him as well, and they also came on board as producers, and they were super fluid and super great to work with, man. And some of the castings that you see in the film, they would bring to me and be like, hey, check out this guy. This guy's great. I know this guy from the off-Broadway scene, or this guy goes to this theater, and they would bring me these people to audition, and it was fun, man. It was a fun fucking process.
Man, I bet it was because I got to tell you, the thing I love the most about the film
Hmm.
is it did not pull any punches because it showed really damaged, fucked up, selfish people. And and there's a lot of those people in
Yeah,
life,
I
right?
agree.
I mean,
I agree.
I've met plenty. I've met people similar. I've known people similar to all those people,
Yeah.
and it it did not try to make excuses or apologize.
Hmm.
You know, that there wasn't sort of a preachy, you know, let's all hold hands sort of message, or there wasn't
Yeah.
this sort of, well, I'm this way because I'm oppressed. And it's like, no, in real
Yeah.
life, people are complicated and they are fucked up, and a lot of
Bingo.
times they are their own worst enemy.
Bingo.
So
Absolutely.
you're watching Pam, it's like you are the cause of all your problems.
Hmm.
And and the fact that they can see that, like, oh well, I admit that, yeah,
Yeah.
I am the reason,
Yeah.
but can't stop it.
Well, you hit the nail on the head perfectly. You said people are complicated, people are fucked up.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I've said word for word to people who have watched the film, right? People are complicated. Nobody is one note. And sometimes people with good intentions, they do bad things and they say bad things. And sometimes people with bad intentions do good things. People are never one note. And we see
yeah,
throughout the film that a lot of these characters are flawed and cannot stay out of their own way. And Pam, specifically as a character, right, as our lead, is someone that definitively cannot stay out of their own way, and they're
yeah.
self-aware of that, right? And we're seeing the film from their perspective, and that's a very real thing, man. I mean, being a person is fucking hard, and you actually touched on this really well in your review of the film, which I'm very grateful for. Being a person is hard, navigating life is fucking hard, and oftentimes, hey man, we're thrust into some crazy shit sometimes. Like we're just thrust into life, and some of us are still figuring that out, no matter your age, no matter where you're
Hmm.
from. I mean, life doesn't have a fucking a guidebook, And especially pertaining to Pam as a character, Pam is not only figuring out how to navigate their family and drug addiction and this person, they're trying to figure out how to navigate themselves,
Hmm.
And that's another serious thing as well, because I think that's also something people have been relating to in their own ways. And it's not easy, man. It's not easy. It's not easy to stay out of your own way.
No, no, it's absolutely not. And and I really have to take my hat off to you that you were able to portray that in such a realistic and unflattering,
Mhm.
but I don't know, a beautiful way. I mean,
Yeah.
it was really. I mean, it's an ugly film, but at the same time, it's a beautiful. It's a
Thank
beautiful
you.
film. I mean,
Thank you
man,
very much.
I really can't. I can't praise it enough, man.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it, man. That means a lot to me. It really does. I'm very grateful that people are even taking an hour out of their day to just to watch the film, because going back to our conversation from earlier, getting people to see your work is really fucking hard, man. And the fact that people have been taking an hour out to watch it and then are telling me, "Hey, man, I relate," it's been wonderful. It's truly a feeling that I can't even describe. So thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
So what was your festival experience like with it?
We've had about a 7 month festival run with it, and the logical smart thing to do probably would have been to keep it in festivals for longer. But the way I viewed this film again, my first feature film, that was like my film school. So this is like I consider my first real feature film. And in saying that, I'm sort of trying to use this as a calling card film. Like this is what I want to do and this is what I can do, but I'd like to try and get more resources for what I'm about to do next. And so in saying that, I've been really focused now on like, let me just put this movie online so people from anywhere can see it, can see what I'd like to try and continue achieving, and what I've learned, And so, I would have liked to keep the film in for about a year or more, but I didn't, and again, that's a mistake, or rather an
Eh,
experience I've learned from, I mean, I've really enjoyed our festival run. But now I just want the movie to be seen, But festivals are cool. This is our first festival run, and we've been to some festivals where I'm like, maybe I won't submit there next time. But then there are been some really fantastic festivals that have given us a platform to meet some great people and to make those connections, and that's a huge thing, There's a major problem I've seen now, though, in the indie film festival circuit where festivals will tell you they're independent film festivals, right? And then
Hmm.
when you submit to them, unless you have a name actor or someone famous in your movie that can sell tickets for your screening, they're not going to accept you. And I get the business side of that, right? I totally understand the business side of that. But this is something I've been personally affected by, especially in, trying to get this film to festivals. So I feel kind of obligated to speak about this. Um, we understand as filmmakers it's a business, right? And as a
Hmm.
festival, you need to sell tickets. But if I'm paying now $60 to submit my movie, $70, $80, a lot of those higher national festivals, that's their submission fee. If I'm paying all that money just to be told no because I don't have a famous person in my movie, that's really fucked up. And
Yeah.
that's just gross. And that's something that I think a lot of filmmakers are gonna continue running into, and I don't think it's gonna get better.
No, I absolutely don't think it's going to get better.
Mhm.
I kind of feel like in a lot of ways film festivals have run their course
Yeah,
because you know, let's say you submit to 10 festivals,
yeah.
right? That's about $600.
Oh yeah. Especially in New York, dude. Festivals here are not cheap, man. They
Yeah.
are not fucking cheap.
So
Absolutely.
let's say 20 festivals, right? Let me do my math there. That's $1,200. And let's say out of those 20 festivals, you get in less than half.
Yeah.
So that other money is
Mhm.
just thrown away.
Yeah,
It's just a waste of money. It's a waste
I
of
would agree with
time. I mean, it really, you spent $60 to get a form rejection email.
yeah.
And trust me, I've gotten plenty of those.
Oh, so have I.
You know,
I
thank
would
you
agree.
so much for submitting to the blah 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 film festival.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we received so many submissions this year. Blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Punk
Yeah,
rock
you
make
got it
art.
down to a T, man. I agree. Absolutely. I'll
Eh,
say this, the idea of a festival, right? In theory, the idea is fucking awesome. I mean,
yeah.
who doesn't want to be in a film festival? And I have to say, there have been festivals we've been to that have been excellent and that have truly championed our film and
Yep.
independent film as an idea. And I appreciate that. I love that.
Yeah.
But in this part of our conversation, for anyone listening, we're talking about the festivals that are want to fuck over independent filmmakers, and that's a very real thing too, I mean, this is again, um this is not an art form rather or a fucking a practice that you can get into to make money. That's not at all. This
No.
this is not to make money. We want the work to be seen, and there's a growing level of institutions and festivals that are prioritizing less of that, are prioritizing less of getting your work seen. And that sucks, man. Like that sucks. Hey, at least just be honest and say, listen, we don't want your movie if it's not something industry related. Like,
Yeah.
you know, um, and it sucks too, because as a younger filmmaker, right? I look back to some festivals and I look back at their history. And you mentioned this earlier, back in the 90s, right? In the early 2000s, there were a lot of great festivals that did champion independent films, but that's
Mhm.
not the case anymore because a lot of those same festivals do not do that. They might
No.
say they still do, but they don't. And that's troubling. And again, I don't think that's going to get better. But the
No.
prices, the submission fees on Film Freeway keep going up, but the
Yes,
chances
they
are getting
do.
lower. So it's tough, man. It's very difficult. It's discouraging actually. I've seen so many filmmakers online say like, I'm thinking about quitting filmmaking because I got rejected from this festival. It's like, really? Like, like it's discouraging. It's really fucking hard, man.
Oh, I mean, if that was the only thing making me want to quit filmmaking, wow. Because because there's so many reasons to quit.
I
You
agree
know,
with that, man.
if
The whole
if
thing's a suck.
yeah,
Absolutely.
the whole thing is it's a terrible suck. It really is. And unless you happen to be wealthy.
Oh yeah.
It but but then again, isn't all life better if you're rich?
I would agree with that.
If
Absolutely. Being a
if you
working class filmmaker coming from a working class family, it's tough.
Yeah.
and that's also why I feel drawn, as far as being a filmmaker, I feel drawn to stories revolving around working class people and people who are, trying to get their life together in that regard, I never want to make a movie about a rich guy. That's the last thing I'd ever want to make a movie about. So
Yeah, I completely understand that. I mean, that's what we call 88 millimeter, the working class filmmakers since 1999.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
and I that's the trap.
Hmm.
That's the trap with filmmaking, that every person who really has it in their blood, and if you're not from wealth, if you're not from privilege, if you're just a poor slob who happens to be a creative type,
That's basically me. You just described me, man.
yeah, and myself,
Yeah,
uh, filmmaking is a hard mistress
I agree with that.
because it really is. I was just talking to another filmmaker last week. Like, man, it's
Mm.
like an abusive relationship.
It's and I know that's probably a little fucked up to joke about, but I'll provide context here. Making an independent film, it leaves you broke, it leaves you fucking miserable. I mean, I've stayed up many sleepless nights saying to myself, "What the fuck am I doing with my life?"
Yeah,
I mean, it's bad. It's the experience of making an independent film has never been easy, but especially
no,
now. And people will tell you, well, you can buy any camera you want now. You can get any piece of equipment you want now. I understand that in theory, right? But I'm gonna get this camera, and where's the movie gonna go after that? You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Who's gonna help
That's
make this movie? I don't know. I don't know. No one's coming to rescue us, and especially now with like the rise of AI and such, it's dangerous. It's very dangerous. And going back to being a working class filmmaker, the actors I work with are also coming from a working class background. So we're kind of like bonded together, man, and we're in this thing together and we're trying to figure it out together. And now with like the rise of AI and everything getting more and more expensive, it's really fucking hard to make movies.
or I think conversely, here's my thoughts on AI.
Sure.
I think it's going to enable a lot of really terrible filmmakers to make even more terrible films easier.
I'm not sure how strongly you feel about AI. And regardless of how you feel, that's how you feel. But for me, I'm very strongly anti-AI. And I'm anti-AI in the sense that I don't want to see films made by AI. I just don't. I feel strongly against that. I think AI as a tool, if you're wanting to fucking I mean, honestly, I don't even know how I could defend that. I'm just anti-AI. For me, there's no justification. I can't look at the other side of that, right? And more now, again, these certain institutions and the suits, the executives are saying, well, let's use AI. Let's use AI. This is the future. AI is the future. No, it's not. No, it's not. Okay. AI is not the future. AI is dangerous. I'm sorry to say, but it's dangerous. And AI, especially in terms of artists and independent filmmakers, it's going to make our lives a lot worse. It just is. I don't believe in the idea that AI should write my script. I don't believe in the idea that AI should be a fucking actor in my movie. I don't believe in any of that.
I think the issue we have is no matter how we feel about it, love it,
Yeah,
hate it, it's here.
it is
It's
here.
it's inevitable. It's not going away.
Mhm.
Uh my own personal feelings, I mean, I don't want to make films with AI.
I agree.
I I they're again, it's like CGI 30 years ago. Everyone was against that, and I understand why, because
Sure.
by and large, practical effects look better. Not
Mhm.
always,
I would
you know.
agree with that.
You can't have a big tentpole Avengers movie with all practical effects.
Hmm.
And those are fun movies. There's nothing wrong with them.
Yeah,
They're,
I agree.
I enjoy those films,
I would certainly agree with that.
but you know, like I said, really shitty, terrible filmmakers are going to use it to make shitty, terrible films, and there's nothing you or I or anyone else can do about that except for like not watch them.
Well, I don't plan to, I'm anti the idea of a prompt coming up with the story. I'm sorry, but I can't. watch a film and feel good with myself knowing an AI came up with this fucking prompt, right? This story came from a prompt. This actor is a prompt. I just don't feel comfortable with that. I can't bring myself to that because the films that I love and the music that I love listening to and the fucking actors I love watching on screen, right? And the writers I love listening to their dialogue, that's all coming from a place deep within inside them as a person, right? And that might sound pretentious, that might sound cliche, but it's the truth, man. I don't believe in the idea, for me personally, I don't believe in the idea that I want to partake in something that came from a fucking computer prompt.
No, and I don't either.
Mhm.
Sadly, I think we are outnumbered in that regard.
Oh yeah. Oh
It's
yeah.
it's like the same people who have no qualms about AI are the same people that would fill in the Grand Canyon and make it a parking lot. I mean, effectively.
Well, you're not wrong about that. I completely agree. It is out of our control. And I
Yeah.
think the the way this shift is happening before our eyes, it's definitely not coming from our side of the fence. It's not coming from the working class filmmakers who are trying to
No.
make this happen. It's definitely not, and again, things are not getting, it all goes back to this point. Things are not getting easier, and that's why I'm happy to be on a podcast like Indie Film Sucks because I think Indie Film Sucks provides a platform to talk about things like this, right? And to talk about all things indie film. And that's important, man, especially the website. The website too, indiefilmsucks.com. This is
Thank
a
you.
great institution. And what you said earlier, there's not too many websites now that are just catered to anything independent film, right? And what does that say about the industry? It says a lot, you know. And that's nothing against horror film. Horror film was great. Indie horror film was great.
Hmm.
But now more than ever, we're losing track on independent film as a whole, man. We're losing track on, I feel, art as a whole. I think a lot of artists, a lot of indie filmmakers, there's a serious endangerment there.
Yeah, and man, I wish I had an answer for how to solve that riddle, but I just don't. I mean, I
Yeah.
was thinking about this today. I think social media makes everything worse, right? Because
Yeah.
you look at your life, you're like, man, I'm barely scraping by, and this sucks, and my movie sucks, and no one wants to watch my movie. Then you go look on social media and you see someone else, whether it's true or not, like, oh, my film's doing great. We just
Yeah.
got picked up here, we got picked up there, and it's everyone's excited about it. And you're like, fuck,
Hmm.
nobody gives a shit about what
Yeah.
I'm doing.
I agree with that, man. There's so many wonderful people that I know that are making independent films, and I'm like, you go, man. Fuck yeah. Um, but even when I talk to them, it's like they're feeling a lot of the same things I'm feeling about myself and my work, and I'm just like, wow. Like, well, that makes me feel a little better knowing that I'm not the only fucking guy that's going crazy about this. Like, it's like, what are we doing? I like you said, there's no answer to that riddle. There's no answer to the idea that things are gonna get better.
No, man. And here's the sad thing,
Yeah.
JR, and this is really sad.
Mhm.
You've been doing this. How long have you been a filmmaker?
I've been making films since I'm younger than 9 years old.
Okay, so what is that? Like
Oh, like
probably
11 years, 11,
11 years.
12, 13 years.
I've been doing this shit 27 years, man.
Wow. God bless, man.
And I feel like I'm only like two rungs up the ladder.
Yeah.
But to be fair, and I think about this all the time because the way I
Yeah.
got started in filmmaking was completely out of left field. Without going into all the gory details, my best friend died, and I became a filmmaker within a
I'm so
month.
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's an interesting story, which I'm not going to bore you with, but
That's
that's how I became a filmmaker,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
that. And I feel like probably 2/3 of the time I spent, I was doing everything wrong. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I look at someone like yourself, and you're on your second feature, and it's like, man, this guy's got it together already. It's
Thanks,
like
Chris. I don't feel that way about myself, but I appreciate that you feel that way. So thank you. It means a lot.
because it took me, I don't know how many movies,
Yeah.
probably my first five
Hmm.
were all kind of, it wasn't until like the sixth feature that I was like, okay, I think I know what the hell I'm doing now.
Yeah.
I made a movie that I like. Everything
Yeah.
else is kind of horse shit. I mean, uh,
You're funny, man.
to a greater or lesser extent, but
Oh, that's the thing. It's like I don't want to have a blind confidence in myself or the work that oh, I'm doing something right. Because if I ever feel that way, then that means I'm probably not doing it right. For me, I always want to try and say to myself, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm going to figure that out along the way. And that's what I have to do to keep myself sane. And also, part of that has to do with wanting to tell stories that, we're not seeing too much in the mainstream, stories that are sort of on the edge a little bit, and there's this great review that came out in Film Thread about Beautiful Pam, and they said something along the lines that, J.R. Stokes tells a story that no Hollywood studio would ever want to touch. And I guess I appreciate the thought of that. I mean, it's not so much that I think that a story like Beautiful Pam is too edgy for anyone else to do. But for me, this is a story that I personally resonate with, and a story that I said to myself, I said, hey, I'm okay with making mistakes. I'm okay with learning from that. I'm okay with learning from this story, and same thing with this next film I'd like to do as well, I'm always going to try and tell myself, you don't have it together, but you're going to learn how to get it together in making this film.
Was that Kent Hill over at Film Fed who reviewed it?
That was Alan.
Okay, because
Yeah.
Kent reviewed our last film, Red Knight, and he loved it, man. And I really appreciated his take on it because speaking of reviews, have you had? Has it all been positive? Has it been a mixed bag? Have you gotten some negative reviews?
It's been very positive. Yeah, like, I feel weird saying that because someone listening might be like, fuck this guy. But it's been very positive, and that's something we're very grateful for, because it means the work is resonating, and again, whether it's a negative review or a positive review, again, someone taking the time to fucking sit down for an hour and watch the film, let alone and then afterwards think about the film and write about the film. That's the win, man. That's the win to me. And the cherry on top is that it's been positive and that people have been like, wow, this is cool shit. I'm into it.
Yeah, I got to say, man, some of the reviews I've gotten for my work have not felt like winning.
Oh, trust me, I've gotten bad reviews before and other stuff, so I get it, dude. I totally get it.
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten some good reviews, but oh, I've gotten some bad ones too. And
I
and it and it's like people you watch the same fucking film.
I made a short film back in high school. It's called Headstone of Solitude. It's that's where I met Jay Rollings from the Fright Flick podcast, and he reviewed the film. And that film is like sort of like very like Lynchian inspired, like sort of experimental, art house, whatever. And there were a couple bad reviews we got on it, and so people would be like, "Wow, this is fucking boring" or whatever, and blah blah blah. I fell asleep watching those. And so when I was developing my first feature, Edge X, we hung up all the bad reviews for my short film, Headstone of Solitude. We hung them up in my fucking garage. And I said, this is the wall of shame. So when we're rehearsing for Edge X, we're going to look at the wall of shame and we're going to fucking laugh at those reviews. And that's what we did. So that's the wall of shame. Any bad reviews go on that wall.
There you go. So what do you have coming up next?
I'm in very early development on my third feature, sort of like Killing of a Chinese Bookie inspired. It's gonna be a lot of fun, Again, I'm still in very early development on it, so I'm just trying to focus on trying to get it made, Hopefully people are into this as well. I think Beautiful Pam again was sort of a calling card film for myself and for all of us, and so we want to try and build on that, hopefully, and um in this third feature, we're going to be touching on some other things as well that I feel personally connected to. So hopefully people are into it, man. I'll definitely be sending it your way in probably 2 or 3 years' time. So
Appreciate that.
yeah, of course, man. Absolutely.
So have you seen any benefits from Beautiful Pam? Have you made connections? Has anything changed for you?
I did an interview yesterday and I was asked the same question and I said, I don't know yet. I guess we'll see as I'm making this next film. I'll see if any of those paid off, because filmmaking and the industry as a whole, as I'm sure you know, is full of people saying, yeah, 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 so yeah, we'll see where it lands. I mean, we have met some really great people and we've made some great connections and it's all some stuff I'm very grateful for. And hey, let's see if it works out. We'll see what happens, my friend.
I mean, going back to my first feature, Amphetamine,
Yeah.
which it is what it is. But I remember this one particular sales agent for a distributor. She was telling me that she thought the film was better than Pulp Fiction,
That's great.
and that's complete horse shit. It's and and I knew that was horse shit. I'm like damn lady, if you're gonna lie to me, if you're
Yeah.
gonna stroke my ego, give me something believable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the only way you think this film is better than Pulp Fiction is if you're mentally challenged, if you
Sure.
got brain damage. I mean,
Sure.
it's obviously not. But yeah, I was just thinking back to festivals
Mhm.
and an exchange I had with another filmmaker. We were on some panel. This was many years ago,
That's great.
and we were talking about because you go to festivals and you make connections, but you tend to make connections with other broke ass filmmakers,
Yeah, yeah,
so
absolutely, man.
which that's fun, but it doesn't really generally lead to much of anything.
Yeah.
But we were talking about watching each other's films,
Mhm.
and then we both kind of looked at each other and said, "We're not going to watch each other's films," and that's so sad but true.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely. Hey, that's always the fun part about networking, It's like, hey, come
Yeah,
see my movie. Oh, come see your movie. Yeah, it's like, yeah, all right.
yeah, no,
That's all right, man. That's all good.
yeah. That's what I tell people all the time. Whenever your friend says, oh, "I'm going to try to make the screening," like
Oh my
they're
God, that is always the biggest one. Oh
they're
yeah, I'm trying to make the screen. Or my
yeah,
favorite one is when people are like, I started watching your movie the other night. I watched the first 10 minutes. I'll finish it later this week. I'm like, oh, okay.
yeah,
All right. Cool, man. Whatever.
yeah. Well, you managed to binge watch all of Dexter, so
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
God, what is worse than filmmaking? But you know what, man? We do it because we don't have a choice.
I agree with that. I mean, it's like we were talking about earlier. It's a very inherent thing. It just is. It's something that there's no reward for doing it. There's truly no incentive for doing it. So at that point, it's like, let's just do it. This is
Yeah,
something that we feel we needed to do and the stories we need to tell, man. And I think that's a really beautiful thing.
yeah. We are the orchestra on the Titanic. That
Yeah.
is,
I would agree with that.
we're just playing the songs, even though the ship is going down.
Yep. Absolutely, man. I agree with that.
All right, well, JR, I feel like we have talked about a lot tonight.
So have I.
Uh,
Thank you so much for having me, man. It's been wonderful chatting with you.
well, likewise. I feel like we've talked about the good, what little there is, the the bad, which there's an overabundance of, and
Yes,
the in
there is.
betweens, the in
Yeah.
betweens
Yes, there is.
of true independent filmmaking. Here
Yeah.
on the Indie Film Sucks podcast, brought to you by 88 Millimeter Productions. You can look for all of our stuff on indiefilmsucks.com. Send in movies to be reviewed. We will review them. We probably won't like them as much as Beautiful Pam, but you never know. You
Thanks.
never know. You never know. Uh,
Thanks so much, Chris.
and yeah, Instagram and all that other horse shit. Where can we find your stuff at?
You could find Beautiful Pam on YouTube right now for free. My YouTube channel and my Instagram are Sid Cinematics, SIDS Cinematics. It's also available for review on Letterboxd as well. So if you like the movie, go check it out, maybe leave a review. But yeah, Beautiful Pam on YouTube for free right now.
All right. Well, J.R. Stokes, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And I'm sure we'll be talking again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Chris.
Indie film sucks. Indie film sucks. It's the indie film sucks